Hello to everyone.
Hi, Scotty.
Hi, let's get started here in just a second. Let me adjust a couple of things. All right, start at the top of my list here. Daryl, what have you got this evening?
Hello, Scotty. I found the respond with text message on the iPhones, where if you don't want to answer a call, you can hit one of those and send a text. But I don't know how to change those or add to them.
You want to be able to change your custom messages. Let's see if we can walk through this together. I'm looking at my phone. Hopefully everybody can see my screen. I'm going to go to settings. First place I'm going to try to look is phone, although that might not be it. Let's see. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Yeah, there it is.
Respond with text.
Yeah, that's it. And then, yeah, so I've got one saying I'm currently in session. So if I'm in a session and somebody from my family sends me a text, I can choose that one. Or if they send me a call, that is, they call me, I can choose that.
How do you change those?
Well, I'll add one right now. So I'm going to go click on this one, and I'll say, I don't want to talk. And there it is. So I just changed it. So I guess there are 3. You might be able to add more. I don't know. I don't think you can add more than 3. It doesn't look like.
Okay, so there's only a limit of 3.
It looks like it. There, I'm sure you could do some digging around, but I think by default that's it.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
All right. Let's go to Joan. Joan, what have you got this evening?
Same problem I've had for a month.
Well, what is that problem that I can't help you with then?
Well, I found a way to work. I'm losing my voice, so if you can't hear me, I'll type. I've learned to work around it. My problem is still, if I put my MacBook Pro to sleep,
Yes.
when I wake it up, Wi-Fi is gone. And then I have to hit Wi-Fi off, Wi-Fi on, and then it works. But if I shut the computer down each time, Wi-Fi comes back up just fine.
Have you experienced this in other areas? In other words, if it happens in your house versus if it happens somewhere outside of your house, have you checked that?
This computer never leaves my house, but our other computers are fine with Wi-Fi.
Well, if you take it over to a great thing to try would be to take it to the Apple Store and join their network, work for it with a little while, close it, open it back up. In other words, see if the problem exists in other areas besides just your home. But I've tried to do everything that I can to answer that question in the past, including walking through those deep levels of folders to throw those things away. Did you try those things?
I read it, I watched it 3 times, but I don't have the guts to throw files away.
Okay, well, I've all right then. Okay, that's a possible
just
answer.
Go on to somebody else.
Okay.
All I do is shut it on, shut it off, and it works. So.
All right. Well, that may answer your question for you. That may solve your problem. Julie, what have you got this evening?
I have a question. Hey, Scott, I haven't seen you in a long time. I have a question regarding my network and the default. It seems to default to a network where I'm not receiving as good a clear signal.
Yeah.
It's not, and then so I have to change it each time. What's the simple way to go in and change that?
Okay. Can you see my screen right now?
Yep.
All right. So what you're going to do? What she's asking about is the order of networks that things join. And I've got somebody continue to text message me here, so I'm getting a little bit distracted. The order of networks that your computer join Wi-Fi wise, and that actually, Julie, relates to Joan's question just a little bit. If you go into System Preferences and you go to Network,
Yep.
once you get to Network, and I don't expect you to do this as I'm talking to you about it. I'm recording it and I'll post it up this evening to my website. So you go to Network and then you select Wi-Fi and you choose Advanced in the bottom right-hand area. Once you get Advanced, that's going to give you a list of all the different networks that your computer has joined. Now, my network here at my house is called Saigon, so I want that at the top of my list. if Black Bear, for instance, which is a neighbor of mine, was at the top of my list, then every time I turn this computer on, that's going to be the one that my computer's going to try to join. And I don't want that. I don't even want it to join Black Bear. So I'm going to minus that out and get rid of it. And I want to make sure that my network is the one that's at the very top. So if I wanted to drag my 5 gigahertz network up, I'm going to pull that to the very top of the list, and that's setting the service order of priority for your devices. One thing along these lines is oftentimes we will go over to someone's house and we will join a Linksys network. And Linksys are very famous for having networks that have no passwords, and the name of the network is called Linksys. So while you might go to the beach and join a network called Linksys, when you get home, if your neighbor has a network called Linksys that is also unpassword protected or just wide open, then your computer might join that or jump over to that by default. So just make sure if you see any of these that see security that are unprotected, select them and get rid of them.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, Nancy, I believe that's you. Nancy, what can I do for you this evening?
I feel like we've done this before, so I apologize, but I'm trying to get photos from my phone. My phone gets to a point where it won't take photos anymore, and I'm trying to get them onto my computer so that I can free up space on my phone.
Yes. Okay, so this is and I use the word mantra with pretty much everybody. This is the mantra that we all have to remember. There are 2 programs that we have to deal with when we're talking about pictures moving from phones to your computer, pictures from the phone to the computer, and that's iTunes and iPhoto. iPhoto takes the pictures off of the device. iTunes puts the pictures onto the device. I'm going to say that one more time. iPhoto takes the pictures off of the device. iTunes puts the pictures back onto the device. So if I'm looking here in my iTunes library and I've got my phone connected, there's my phone connected to the left-hand column and I've selected that. But down here at the bottom, look, my phone is packed. I've got 2,000 pictures on my phone. I don't want 2,000 pictures on my phone because I can't even download another app. So Nancy, I'm in the exact same situation as you. So what I need to do is get some of those pictures off of the phone. Now, the trick here is that PhotoStream has already moved those pictures over to iPhoto most likely. And the way that I can check that is if I go to my phone and settings and I scroll down to iCloud, I want to make sure that right there where it says Photos, that Photos are turned on. Now, if Photos are turned on, then most likely most of those pictures that I have taken on the phone are already in iPhoto. But remember that mantra I said, iPhoto takes the pictures off, iTunes puts the pictures on. So if that's the case, then I'm going to open up iPhoto and I've got to ask iPhoto to take those pictures off of my phone. Are you following me so far?
I think so. I mean, it used to do it automatically, but
It's not going to take them off automatically. It's not going to...
when I hooked up the phone to
Yes.
the cable, it would do it automatically. But now, when I hook up the phone, it doesn't do anything to the unit, you know.
Well, it's never going to just take the pictures off automatically. iPhoto, which takes the pictures off of the phone, is always going to prompt you. And think about if Apple programmed iPhoto just to take them off of the phone and erase the pictures off the phone, there would be a lot of phone calls into AppleCare saying, why did iPhoto just take my pictures off? So what it does is it makes copies of them into iPhoto, but then it prompts you and it asks, would you like us to take them off? And I don't know that it's ever just automatically taken them off. But once we're over here on the left-hand side, now I'm in iPhoto. So basically the moral of my story here is that you have to dance with 2 programs at the same time. You got to dance with iPhoto and you have to dance with iTunes. So here my iPhone is selected in iPhoto. And let me go click it on the bottom left-hand area here. Let's see. I'm trying to get it to actually do it. What my iPhoto is doing right now is looking at all the pictures that are on my phone, and then it's going to ask me. There's going to be a little area down here that I can say, all right, remove them all. First thing I want to do is try to import them. After I've tried to import them, then I want to take them all off. So it's in 2 steps. So you see up here, this top right-hand area, it says import 44 pictures. All right. Now, I'm going to import those. After I've imported them, and I don't want to do that right now because I don't necessarily want these pictures in this on this computer, but if I import these, after I've imported all those, I'm going to see a little message at the bottom that says, would you like to delete the pictures off of the phone? And I say, yes, I do want to take them off of the phone. The whole goal here is that back in iTunes, that big photos area at the bottom will shrink back down so I don't have that much space. So you do have to deal with both iPhoto and iTunes in this. Does that help a little bit?
A little bit, but like it used to categorize them by month. Like all of the monthly ones would go, and it would say November, December.
All right.
They would all be organized on my phone. I mean, on my iPhoto, but it doesn't do that anymore.
Then what we're talking about now really is events. So if you go in iPhoto, if you go up under the word iPhoto in the top left-hand area, way up in the menu bar, and you select Preferences, you can tell the phone, or the camera that is, to split your events into a certain time period. So here's auto split events, and here it is 1 week or per day. Now, month-wise, you could set up smart groups to say, group all of my November pictures together, that kind of thing. But if we go back over to events, these are the different times, the groups. Here's a time I went to Arkansas. Here's a time that I went furniture shopping, that kind of thing. iCloud will group it into months. Your photo stream will group it into months. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question very well at all.
I just want to get them off my phone onto my iPhoto. What do I have to do in iTunes to do that?
iPhoto takes the pictures off. iTunes puts the pictures on. So if all you're trying to do is get the pictures off of your phone, you don't need to deal with iPhoto at all. Here's the trick, and this is the very important thing that I'm going to say. So if you haven't been able to concentrate on anything else, listen to this part right here. iTunes, when I've got the phone selected, and here's my iTunes library I've got open, and the phone selected, across the top right-hand area there, it says Photos. You see that up there on my screen? This is the area that iTunes will organize pictures onto your phone. Now, if I select this, I have 2 choices. Either I could put all of my pictures that are in iPhoto onto my phone, or I could say I just want certain pictures, just my last 12 months, or just the snow pictures that I took, because I would have created folders, or they're called albums, in iPhoto previously. So iTunes, this area in iTunes, sees inside iPhoto. But if all you want to do is take the pictures off of the phone, then you don't really even need to deal with iTunes. You deal with iPhoto. So once you've connected your phone, you go import the pictures. After the pictures are imported, then you'll have the ability to delete all of the pictures at once. You'll see a new prompt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll try it.
Okay. If you want to do it right now while we're talking, while we go through the list, and if you're unsuccessful, then we'll jump over and take a look at your screen in a moment. I just hesitate to take a look at your screen during the meeting because you're going to reveal some pictures of yourself on that, and I try to, that's a little bit more private. So give it a shot there.
Okay.
I've got somebody in the meeting that...
Thanks.
Okay, I've got somebody in the meeting that doesn't have a name listed. It just says guest user. Is there somebody here I have not spoken to yet?
Yeah, it's Joanne.
Ah!
I have no idea what's going on.
All right, Joanne, I'm sorry I couldn't answer your text. I'm kind of rapid firing here on the question, so I answered the first one, but generally if I'm getting emailed or texted during the town hall, I can't really stop as easily. So now that you're here, congratulations for making it in. I knew you would solve your problem. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Joanne was texting me earlier trying to get into the session while I was talking. So what have you got, Joanne? Joanne, are you with us?
Well,
Okay.
I always, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
I can hear.
Yes.
Okay. I usually use the iMac upstairs, Scotty, for town hall because I can never get it on my laptop because it won't take my password.
Because you don't know your password?
No, it's the same one I've used for years and years and years.
Now, wait, didn't we do this maybe last week and you were able to get in? Don't I remember that you didn't know your password
I'm
would work?
wondering, no, that was something different. That was the admin password.
Okay.
But now I can't get in at all, and I don't know if I changed the password. Did we
Okay.
change it last week?
No. All right, let me pause you here. Remember, when you say you can't get in, what is it that you cannot get into?
I cannot log in to my iMac. I can't get into it. That's why I'm a guest user right now.
I understand. Okay. So let me see. You have
I'm wondering if we changed.
no. I don't think I remember. If you remember last week, and I recorded all this, so it's posted on the website. I gave you this. We kind of worked through. Okay, do you know your admin password? And you couldn't think of it for a while. And then I said, all right, well, if you've got to reset your admin password, here is a long set of instructions to do that. And both you and I and everybody in the meeting were going, oh man, I hope she doesn't have to do that. And then at the last minute, you recovered, you remembered your password, and you put it in.
No,
And
I didn't know it was the same password I used to log in. I've used that password for years and years. I thought the admin password was a different one.
that is your
So when I
admin
used
password.
the same- Yeah, so when I used my regular password last week, I got in. Well, now it's not letting me use my regular password to log into anything, to get into my email or anything.
Okay, all right. Now let's back up because those are two different issues. When you say login is a gigantic term. You can log into a user. So on my computer, I have multiple users here. I have my admin user, and I've got a guest user, and I've got a test user. So if I was going to log into my test user, that could be a parent and a child for all that matters, that has its own password. But email has nothing to do with
Right.
this. So a
No, I
way
didn't mean email. I'm just trying to log in, period.
to a user.
Using the same to me, to Joanne, using
Okay.
the same password I've used for 10 years.
All right. I would be willing to bet pretty big money that the password has not changed at all. It's just that something in your brain is thinking that it's something different than what it really is. I don't think the password has changed. Now, a good way to... have you shut the computer down and just turned the computer back on?
Yes.
And when you do that, it comes up to a screen that presents you with which user would you like to log into. Is that correct? Or does it just come into your desktop?
It comes into which user would you like to use?
All right, so you select it, and then you can't come up with that password.
I use the same password I've used for 10 years. It's always worked, and now it's just not working.
Okay, well, I will bet my life that the computer did not just change that password on its own. A human being, if the password is in fact different. Okay.
I may have changed it. I don't even know. I may
Well,
have done that last week.
Here's the way one would change their password if they knew their old password and they wanted to change it to something different. This is how they would do it. So I'll walk you through it. So maybe you'll just ring a bell. Maybe you'll go, yeah, you know what? I think I remember doing that. If you were going to do that, here's what you would do. Let me shrink this down a little bit. You would go into System Preferences if you were logged into your user prior, and you would go to Users and Groups. And I think I did this the other day, actually. So I'm doing this again here. Users and Groups. I'm waiting for mine to load up. Now, change password. Now, I would have to know my old password. So here's my old password. I put my old password in, and then I put the new password in, and then I give myself a hint to that. And from that point forward, my user has a new password. My admin has a new password. Admin and user are the same thing in your case. And again, this has nothing to do with email at all. This is just getting into your area.
Well, I may have changed it then.
If you changed it, and I always encourage people to put a hint down. Did you?
Which I would have.
And after you try it,
Obviously did, because the hint that comes up is my old hint.
All right. This is for, I feel like deja vu from last week here.
Me too.
And we went through, and I remember mentioning the letter S because I know your password, one of your passwords starts with an S. I know it, but I'm not going to reveal it, you know, and you know I know it. And you tried that, and you tried the misspelling, and I think we talked about it adding the 1 at the end, and later on you got it.
Yeah, because all I needed was my regular password. That was the admin password, and so that was fine. The S password is Wi-Fi.
Okay.
My admin password for the iMac was my regular password. So I think after last meeting, I changed it somehow, didn't put a hint in there, and now I don't know what it is.
All right. I think this is a case, Joanne, of being more secure than you needed to be, maybe, and then you locked yourself out of it. If you want to change that password, or if you, and so I would say just go back and listen to last week's meeting because I may just regurgitate the exact same thing here that I said last week about changing your admin password. But if a person, I'll say it like this, if a person finds themselves in the situation that they have to change the admin password because they cannot remember their old password, then the only way to do that is to turn the computer off, hold down the option key, turn the computer on. And remember, I kind of talked about this. You turn the computer on, you would boot into what's called recovery mode by holding the option key down. And then there's a long series of, you would go to utilities, open up terminal, type in reset password, all one word, choose your user, put in your new password, restart the computer. You would log in using your new password, but then that causes problems with Keychain. Do you remember we talked about that last week?
Yes, very well.
Yeah. And I think I went over it several times last week, so that's posted on YouTube or on my website at the previous town halls, because that's the only way you can get into that user. If you cannot remember that password, and you have to reset your admin password, it's ugly, but that's what you'd have to do.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Can I ask you one thing real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. One more question. I spent a long time on that, so I'll jump back up to Daryl. You'll be. I'll go back up to you, Daryl, in just a second. What was your second question, Joanne?
Well, you did this with me before. I don't remember how, but I'm trying to turn archive off on the iPad and put delete on instead.
Okay, so I believe to do that, now they may have changed this, on your phone, and I'm going to walk through it on my phone here because I think I've got a Gmail account set up. You go into your settings. Once you go to settings,
Do it on the iPad.
that's the same thing. It's iOS. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
In settings, you go to mail contacts and calendars. Then you find your Gmail account and select your Gmail account. And then you go to select the actual account up at the top. And under advanced, that should give us the ability to turn on, there it is, move messages. See, instead of deleted, it says archive. In this case, I'm going to select deleted mailbox. So discarded messages are not archived, they are then deleted. That's a very popular question that I get. So I'll just review it real quick one more time. Let me go all the way out. Go to settings. In settings, scroll down to mail contacts and calendars. Choose your Gmail your Gmail email address. Select the account. Go down to advanced. Then choose where it says move discarded messages into and choose whether you want deleted or archived. All right?
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, Daryl, what have you got for us next?
Don't have anything, Scotty.
All right, I'm just keep moving, and we're going to come back. I'm just going to go down this list here. Joan, you're somehow on this list. Next, did you have another issue?
Just that my Gmail comes in about 5 minutes later on both my iMac and my MacBook Pro, but it comes in instantaneously on my iPhone and iPad.
The only thing I could say to try to check is on your mail application within, in other words, the stamp on a computer, on the stamp itself, mail's app or the mail application. Go to preferences. When you get to preferences, oh, we have a winter weather watch, everybody. Go to general and select to check for new messages. Now notice how mine says to check automatically. I don't want to maybe check automatically. Maybe I want to say, you know what, every minute. Because automatically might be saying, hey,
Right, I did change that on both computers,
and did you change it to every minute or automatically?
every minute.
Okay,
It
and
was on automatically, but it didn't change anything.
yeah, I don't have any other answer other than that. I can't think of anything else that's really going to help it, because that's out of our control. That's more of just how the server talks to the computer. I don't think I can help us beyond that.
I pull my mail up and then I go do other things, and then by the time I go back to it, it's starting to come up.
Now, 10.9.2, which is the latest version of the operating system, addresses a pretty big relationship issue that Apple was having between Mail and Gmail. So make sure that you've moved up to 10.9.2, and Gmail may respond better. All right, because
Okay,
that's
I'm up to date.
all right. Julie, what have you got? You got another issue, Julie?
I have a question, advice question. I need to purchase an external hard drive for my daughter.
Yeah.
Is there a brand that you'd like?
Before I answer that, I'll make the declaration that every hard drive dies, so it doesn't matter what I recommend. Just realize or consider that it is going to die. But with that being said, the one that I like the most and the one that dies the least is the Seagate Backup Plus. So I'm gonna pull that up at Amazon right now, so you can kind of check that out. The Seagate. I hate with a passion the Western Digital MyBook drives, but the Seagate Backup Plus is my drive of choice. There are better drives than this, but for the money, this is fine. So here's now you have two classifications, Julie, of hard drives. You have portable hard drives and you have desktop hard drives. Now, if you look at these top two hits right here at Amazon, the portable hard drive, which is this size that I'm holding up right now, that would connect via a USB cable, and then that USB cable would charge it. These are very convenient, but they're also very fragile. A 1 terabyte costs $84. But a desktop drive, which is much, much bigger, you see the size difference. This small drive, which costs actually a lot more money for this amount of space, that powers over USB and you don't have to plug it into the wall, is very convenient, but you get a whole lot more bang for your buck if you don't mind plugging a big hard drive up to the wall. So you see this one here is $122 for 3 terabytes. So for 3 times the amount of space, you're adding $30. So I do like the Seagate Backup Plus desktop drives the best.
And how often do you replace yours?
Well, I've got drives that have lasted me forever, but as long as since I've had the drive, they've never died. But the answer to that is you always have your data in 3 places. You have your data on your computer where you use it. You have your data on a Time Machine backup drive that you connect to your computer all the time. Then you have your data on another drive that you take out of the house in case somebody breaks into your house or you have a fire. It's going to burn up, or they're going to steal your computer and they're going to steal your backup. But do you have a second backup that you keep outside of your house? Now, in today's operating system, 10.8 and 10.9 on the Mac, Time Machine allows you to back up to multiple drives. So really all you need are 2 hard drives, and you can go into your settings and say, Time Machine, I'd like you to back up to this drive. And oh, by the way, Time Machine, I'd also like you to back up to this drive that I only bring in every once in a while. And it's very easy to do that. So,
Thank you.
all right. Back over to Nancy. Sorry I wasn't able to read that while I was talking. Nancy, are you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and I just read the note that you just pushed in here, and it said that when you plug your phone in, Nancy sent me a little text message while we were talking. Said when you plug your phone in, it starts to download the photos, and it doesn't give you the choice to select the ones you would like to go in. And you're talking.
Automatically says downloading 2,000 photos, and it just starts downloading immediately.
Okay, and do you want? Let me open up iPhoto again. I wonder if there's a setting to automatically import. I'm sure there probably is. I can't think of it right now. We're moving right along here. I'm trying to open up my iPhoto library right quick, and I'm going to go to my settings here. And I've got the world's slowest computer. You know, I think our computers are not getting slower. I think that iPads have spoiled us. iPads are just so much faster, and then when we sit down at computers, and you have to remember, iPhoto on a computer is dealing with 30-some thousand pictures, whereas, I'm sorry, iPhoto on a computer is dealing with 30,000 pictures. We expect our computers to be as fast as our iPads, and that's just not the case. So let me see, back in preferences for iPhoto. I can't think of a setting that it would say to pull them in automatically. Are you sure, Nancy, that they're importing automatically, or it's just... See, when I do it on mine, I have the ability to choose to import a certain number of pictures, but it's listing them all. So I have two categories. Here are the ones that are already imported, and here are the newest ones that have not been imported yet. Does that show up like...
I mean, I can show you my screen and
Okay.
plug it in and show you how it starts doing it.
Okay, so let's jump over to make you the presenter. And you should see a request to become the presenter, so allow your screen to be shared.
You see it?
Not yet, but there we go. Okay, if you'll move iPhoto into the... Say that again? If you'll move...
I lost you guys.
Well, yeah, you're kind of, your screen is now kind of covering up everything else. If you'll minimize Safari, we don't need Safari, so you can either hit the red button to close it or yellow button to get rid of it for now. And if you'll pull iPhoto up to the left, up, more center into the computer there for us. And I don't see your phone connected on the left-hand column.
Yeah, I haven't plugged it in yet because I want you to see what it does.
All right, let's see it. This is exciting. We're waiting. So we're watching over on the left-hand column of iPhoto to see your phone show up.
I might have the slowest computer. There we
That's
go.
okay.
Keep loading.
Yes.
It'll load right now.
Right, they're not importing. That's not importing. And look at that number up there, Nancy, at the top right-hand corner, 1,200. Okay, so you have 1,200 pictures. Yeah,
When
this
it's
is...
loading. It's going to load 2017.
Right, it has to develop a relationship. It's like a meet and greet. It's going through a meet and greet right now. iPhoto is saying, hello iPhone, how are you? And iPhone's saying, well, I'm fine, I've got a whole bunch of pictures here. Would you like to see them? And iPhoto's saying, yeah, show them to me. And once iPhoto sees them, then iPhoto's going to go, oh, you know what? We have a whole lot of these. We don't need to import all 2,000 of them. You have some of them. Some of these we already have. So in a moment, it's going to say, we'll import out of the 2,000, we'll import 400, or we'll import 30. And then, after you've imported those, or you've chosen to import certain ones, then you'll have the option to delete these off of the camera. Okay, so it looks like you haven't imported a lot of these. So up at the top right-hand corner, it says import 1,500 pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to do that because it's not until you've done that, and don't do it yet, don't click it quite yet. If you haven't clicked it, wait on it because it's going to slow things quite down quite a bit. But if you see that, okay, move your mouse over to where it says import 1,500 in blue. All right, now move your mouse down to where it says show all 469. The 469 pictures are the pictures that are on your phone that iPhoto has already imported. So when you hit import, that 1,548 plus 469 equals around 2,000, which is what that number was that we saw earlier. You follow my math on that?
Yeah.
So your goal here, Nancy, this is what I would do if I were you. Nobody needs 1,500 pictures on their iPhones, but we all walk around with 2,000 pictures on our iPhones, and we all ask ourselves, why are we out of space on our phones? But we have the best intentions. I want to have my Thanksgiving of 2007 pictures on my iPhone. So, and remember, iTunes puts the pictures back on to the phone. But before we do that, we have to import those pictures. After you click import, iPhoto is going to say, okay, iPhone, I say the word I, or the letter I a million times a day, so I always have to think about it before I do it. iPhone, give me all your pictures. iPhone will start pulling those down, and you may be prompted, and iPhoto might say, hey, we already have some of these. So when you do that, you can say, yes, just skip the duplicates, I've already got these. After it's done, you will be presented with two buttons, a white button and a blue button. The white button says, delete the pictures. The blue button says, keep the pictures. We are trained Pavlovly, I'm trying to use Pavlov as an adjective or something. Pavlov has trained us blue, click, blue, click, blue, click. But in this case, we do not want to click the blue because clicking the blue says leave the pictures on the phone. And that's not what we want to do. We want to click the white button that says delete the pictures. Are you following me?
Okay, yeah.
So go ahead and click that.
They'll be all off my phone, but they'll be in iPhoto.
That's exactly right, and that's what you want to do. Then, if there are some pictures that you want to put on your phone, like Thanksgiving of '07, then what you should have done, and what you should do in the future, is over here in the left-hand column of iPhoto, you should create a folder of my favorite pictures to go to iPhone. So you might create a new album. Look at the word file up in the top of the computer. Don't worry about the iPhone issue right now. We're back in iTunes again. Go back to iPhoto.
Okay, I'm here.
All right, click on iPhoto. So iPhoto is the frontmost application. Right now, iTunes is even. There you go. Now, in the top left-hand area, see the word file? Way up there, way at the top of the computer, there's the word file. Select file, and you'll see new album. All right, now, when you create a new album, that is creating a group of some of your favorite pictures. And you can move a lot of those pictures into iPhoto's album, and then you can sync that album back onto the phone from within iTunes. I know that's crazy. The problem here is that Apple is asking us to use two programs to manage our pictures and things. And really, we should be dealing with deal with one program. This is all Windows' fault, by the way.
So should I create, I have to create the albums though after I've downloaded them.
Exactly.
I can't do them on my phone while they're.
That's exactly right.
open.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm kind of putting the cart before the horse and just pointing that out to you. So get off of that. What I want you to do is import those pictures. While you import those, drag iPhoto down so it's lower, so that we don't see your life flash before your eyes. It's none of our business where you've been and what you've done. So click iPhoto, click import right now. We might see a prompt. There you go. It may prompt us for duplicates. So pull it up just enough that where you might see that duplicate message pop up. Okay, good. We don't need to see it that much. Just down a little bit farther. And there you go. And if it comes up with duplicates, no, that's good. That's perfect right there. And I know you live a very crazy, wild lifestyle, and none of us want to see what you're doing on your weekends. That's just a joke. I'm just kidding.
Nothing exciting, believe me.
So anyway, if iPhoto comes up with any duplicates, it will present you with a message saying, we already have this one. Would you like to skip it and apply this to all the duplicates? So keep an eye out for that. But there are two steps here, Nancy, and this is important. You're done with this part. After this is all finished and that blue line has imported all of them, it's going to present you with that message that says delete the pictures white or keep the pictures blue. Remember, we talked about that. You're going to click the white button to delete the pictures. But here's the big piece of this. That is not taking all of the pictures off of the device. That's only taking the pictures that you just imported off the device. What about the other 400? What you will then do is within iPhoto, there will be yet another button at the bottom that says remove all pictures off of the iPhone. Yes, that's what you want to do. Okay?
Okay.
All right. I know that's quite a lot to think about. This is, by the way, this is all Windows' fault. Apple had to make the iPhone talk to a computer in such a way that if iPhoto was what managed all the pictures, no one in Windows has iPhoto. So they had to say, all right, we will make iTunes, but everybody in Windows has iTunes because iTunes is the central hub. So they had to make this organization through iTunes. It's just a big it's not pretty. It's not well thought out. But there's a lot of things that are not well thought out in this world. All right. I think I've gone through everybody at least twice. So if anybody has another question, just jump in now. What have you got?
I'm ready for you now.
All right, Daryl, what have you got?
I have two things. The first thing is you mentioned that the new update for the iMac and the MacBook Pro addressed some Gmail issues with Apple Mail.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, do you know whether the what's fixed is when you delete or when you read your mail in one device, whether it shows it read in the other? Is that part of the fix?
Supposedly, yes. The way that Gmail speaks the language of IMAP, if you understand that sentence, and the way that Apple speaks the language of IMAP are slightly askewed. One speaks with a French accent and the other one speaks with an Austrian accent, and even while they're speaking the same language of IMAP email, there are intricacies that each of them kind of fall off of. So the best experience for checking your Gmail is using the browser Chrome and going to gmail.com. But if you're going to use Outlook or if you're going to use Apple's mail program, then sometimes you're going to have little problems. And Apple's update to 10.9.2 supposedly makes the language that Apple's mail program speak, IMAP, the way Gmail speaks it, a little bit closer.
Okay, now, a while back when I was having some Gmail problems, one of the things that you suggested was that I delete my Gmail account
And re-add it?
and then reestablish it.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't lose anything when we do that. What's your
Okay,
question?
Well, I thought perhaps that, because I was having trouble, I would read mail in one device and it wouldn't show as read in the other.
Yeah, so it's not
If it
syncing.
persists, or I'm having trouble with my email, some other reason, could I delete it and then reestablish it, and maybe that would reconnect everything properly?
Yeah, absolutely. With your case, Daryl, I don't think that you're using any POP email account. And the difference for anybody that cares between POP and IMAP is POP is email that does not sync. IMAP is email that does sync. POP is roadrunner.com email, Bell South email, some old Yahoo accounts. IMAP email that does sync and is good is Gmail and iCloud and AOL. Even though I'm not a big fan of AOL, they do have IMAP email. Exchange is an IMAP type of service. But the truth here is that if you're having problems, Daryl, yes, one of the troubleshooting steps that you could do, and I'm going to do it right this very second, I'm going to go, here's all my email in Gmail, and I'm having problems. It's not syncing. Things are not working right. So I'm going to go to Mail, Preferences, and I'm going to say to my accounts, once that loads in my preferences, I'm going to select my Gmail account. It's taking my computer a second here. Let's see. All right, there's my Gmail account. And notice that says IMAP. And I'm going to say, all right, out of here, delete. And I'm going to delete that. Now, in 10.9, I believe now, it wants you to actually delete the account from system preferences. So I think you might have to go, depending on which operating system you're on, you might have to go into system settings, into your internet accounts. I wish that they had not done this, but they have. When you want to delete an email account, where is my system preferences? I got a lot of stuff open here. It'll load here in a second. There it is. And you would delete it from the internet accounts tab. And then that would take it out of mail. And then you re-add it again from the same place, and it puts it right back in. And that may solve your problem. Now, there are many, many other files, too many for us to really get into, that could be causing the problem on a computer to not sync. But generally, this is completely common for Gmail accounts not to sync well. As we see, Jones had the same type of problem in the past. So if I select my Gmail in that Internet Accounts tab, I can, and I've got some graphic issues going on, I could delete that and minus it out.
Do you take it off of every computer?
Not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to do it, no. And you're not losing anything, remember? The other thing that I like to do, and I've pointed this out in the past, is turn off some of those folders. Remember, we've talked about that in the past, Daryl, where you go to gmail.com and you sign in and you look at, they call them labels. Yeah, and you turn some of those off. The less that your email account has to speak to your computer, the better. So, for instance, I'm trying to load up gmail.com, but right now, if we go back into mail preferences, and you know what? I don't want to save my drafts on the server, because if I don't save my draft messages on the server, if I don't save my junk mail and my deleted mail on the server, that's that much less of the conversation that it has to have, and sometimes that makes things better. Where I find that is under preferences, select my email, go to mailbox behaviors, and then I have my series of store draft messages on the server. No, I don't want to do that. Store sent messages on the server sounds great, but I'm not that important. I'm going to turn that off. Store junk messages on the server? No, I don't need to store my junk mail on the server. The less my email program is communicating with Gmail, the better in the long run. Going back over here to gmail.com, you look at your settings, I believe it is, and we've done this before, so you know where I'm headed. And then in settings, you find labels, and in labels, you turn off boxes that Gmail has provided for you that you do not need to see in IMAP, and it's taking a while to load up.
I don't see labels.
It's trying to load. It's I think the internet connections. I was taking up everything. There they are. Okay, so labels. I'm pushing my computer quite to the limit here. All right, so here, do I really need the important box? No, I'm going to uncheck that. Do I need drafts? No, I'm going to uncheck that. Do I need all mail? Certainly not. I already have that unchecked. Do I need a trash? And I could uncheck some of those. Do I need a starred? No. I have my own flagging system. So you can hide some of those, and that will help a little bit as well. All right?
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have another issue they want to jump in and talk about?
I do.
Okay, that's Joanne. What do you got, Joanne? Take it.
On my iPad, the photos that I take on my iPhone go to my iPad photo stream,
Yes.
but I cannot store them onto Camera Roll. Instead, the iPad automatically makes up these funky albums. Some of my pictures go into the albums, and some of them don't go anywhere. And when I try to save them into the Camera Roll from the photo stream, it makes me name an album. But I don't want that. I want them all on the Camera Roll,
Right.
as in the phone.
Yeah. A good way of practicing this would be to text yourself a picture. If you send a picture through text message of yourself, in other words, you're not really even in PhotoStream, you just get a picture texted to you. So you could say to your husband, email me, or not email, well, you could use email. Text me a picture, email me a picture. In other words, what you're doing, Joanne, is getting yourself out of the PhotoStream area, because if you're, in other words, just to kind of get your feet wet with saving that picture. I don't know if I've got a picture that someone has texted me lately. Let me pull this off so I don't.
I can do it on the phone. The iPad is a whole separate issue.
I'm sure there's an explanation. If you save it, if somebody texts you a picture or somebody emails you a picture and you click to save, you should be able to save that picture into the Camera Roll. If you have a photo streamed picture that you took with another device and it lands on your iPhone, or your iPad that is, there I am with the eyes, all day with the eyes, and you save you go to save the picture that is in your photo stream, you should have the ability to save it to the Camera Roll as opposed to choosing to make a new album. I can't.
I do not on the iPad.
Anybody have any thoughts on this? I can't replicate the issue myself with just my iPhone. Let me see if I can pull it up. The iPhone and the iPad are the same operating system, so it shouldn't matter. See, unfortunately,
And I thought my pictures would automatically go to the iPad, but they do not. And when they do go to PhotoStream, I try to save them to the Camera Roll, and it makes me. And then sometimes it just develops albums on its own.
okay.
Yes.
All right, so down here, well, I don't know if you can see this here. Do you? Well, let me hold on, I don't know what I just did here. I just airplayed that over. Give me a second to.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that. Good gracious, my phone just gone crazy. Give me a second to get out of here. Airplay. All right, let me try this again. Sorry. Done. I don't want that picture up. Maybe that will do it now. Can you stop AirPlay? There is. I can't do it without pushing the whole picture over to my computer the way I've got it set up. But if you look at your iPad and you select photos and you look at your picture, when you touch and hold that picture, you should have the ability, and you can't see it over here, to with the bottom left-hand corner, you should have the ability to copy, slideshow, AirPlay, or save to camera roll. And
I don't have that on the iPad.
man, I wish
Which
I could.
iPad version do you have?
Are you on iOS 7?
64 gig on the 2, I believe.
Okay, do you have iOS?
An iPad 2?
Yes, and I have downloaded the latest version.
The iPad 2 doesn't allow you to do some things that 3 does.
Right.
Okay. I will
Well,
default. Go ahead.
So is it the new operating system that's caused all these issues?
That prevents. It's possible. I haven't heard of that, but I trust Daryl. I believe what he just said.
There's some stuff I can't do on my 2 that I can do on a mini, and I can do on my phone, but I can't do on my iPad 2, and I think that's one of them.
The
Yeah.
photos in general?
Something with the photo, moving the photos somehow. I can't remember. I came across it a month or so ago, but I can't remember. I'd have to do some more research.
Yeah, I believe it. Do you have the iPad 2?
Let me Google it real quick. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah, that could be a possibility. Let me see. I've got Julie that just popped in here. So, Julie, let's jump over while he's researching that. Julie, you've got another question over here. Are you still with us, Julie?
Yes, I am. I just have an advice question. I have an ancient iPhone I'm holding out for the iPhone 6. Do you have any idea when it's coming out? I've heard it's going to be a larger screen.
No, nobody ever knows anything. It certainly trend-wise, it feels like it should be. But if you look at historically, when they generally release them around October-ish, late September, October. But if you want some really hard, concrete evidence as to what their cycle is, there's a great site out there that does a really good job of just recording cyclically what's happening. The name of the site's macrumors.com, which is this is not a rumor. If you go to their macrumors.com and you hit buyer's guide, this makes a lot of sense. Basically, they say, okay, every let's pick a device like an iPhone. If we scroll down, there's the iPhone. Over here, this is some really good information. The average cycle that they release is 380 days. So every 380 days, they release a new iPhone. It has been 165 days since the last update. So we're in the middle of the product cycle right now. Generally, they release around October with the iPhone. But anyway, if you go to buyersguide.macrumors.com, this is just all this is completely factual. So let's go look at another one. The MacBook Air, for instance. The MacBook Air, they average 340 days in between cycles. It's been 266 days since the last update for the MacBook Air. So this is probably not a great time to buy a MacBook Air. If you can hold out another 100 days, there'll probably be a new one based completely on facts. All right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Did you come up with anything, Daryl?
No, not yet.
Okay. It wouldn't surprise me, but it does seem odd that the iteration of the iPad would keep you from saving photos to camera roll. The version of iPad might not give you Siri. It might not give you certain hardware features, but I would think it would still be able to save to the camera roll.
Well, I can't, and then it tries to do. I took a panoramic picture, and now it's in. I didn't even do anything with it, and it's in some album called Panoramic 2.
Yeah, now
It makes
the
its own albums. I cannot save it to camera roll. The if I try, it makes me name it in an album, and I've got pictures all over the place.
Now, panoramas are different. Panoramas generally.
Well, okay, but forget that.
Okay.
Forget that example, because no matter what I do, I cannot save a picture to camera roll. In fact, I can't even get it off the photo stream unless I put it in some unnamed or new named album.
I bet.
And Scotty, I'm on 10.0.6, is that right?
No, 7.0.6 on your
Yeah,
iPad.
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, I wish there was a way. Unfortunately, I wish there was a way that I could see your iPad and while you were doing it. But you can save that for next time you and I have a session together, because I'm sure that there's a way. I think that there's just something you're missing, most likely. I think there's an extremely easy solution to this. There's just something that we're missing. There's a button somewhere that you're not noticing that's given us the ability to do that. I'm sure that's what it is. I don't think it's a flaw, and I feel like you're going to be able to save those at the camera roll if you really wanted to. There's just something that we're missing. Unfortunately, I can't see your iPad to be able to help you with that issue.
Well, I thought whatever you did on the iPhone was supposed to sync with the iPad.
No. Now, you can delete a picture from PhotoStream on any device and it leaves PhotoStream. That's supposed to happen. But if you save something to a camera roll on one side, that does not necessarily mean that it's going to be saved to the camera roll on a different device.
Right, okay.
Nancy, I think you had another follow-up question. What was your other question there, Nancy?
I did. On my iPhone, when I get a text, like if I don't see who it comes from, sometimes it just disappears. Like I have 2 new messages now and I don't know who they're from because I only have one message. They all just disappear.
Say the question to me. Ask the question again in a little different way. You say you're getting text messages from people that you don't know.
No. When a text message comes through and I open it, like sometimes there's nothing there. And but when it comes through, if I see who it was from really quick, like it was from my daughter, I can pretend like I'm going to write a new email and pull up her name, and then I can find the text that she sent. Otherwise, it's not there on my phone.
Okay, so what you're saying is somebody sends you a text message and it kind of, do you see it for a second and then it disappears?
Yeah, I see it on the scroll screen at the top when my screen is locked. You know how you
Yeah, it's
see
in
it
the
at top
notification.
really quick?
Yeah, it's in notifications, but it's
I see
not.
it in the notifications, and then I can research who sent it if I see it on the notifications. But if I don't see it on the notifications, sometimes it goes through and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay, so here's something that we can tread lightly with, but might help us a little bit. Just watch this. Don't do it on your own phone. Just watch on my phone. This could help us, but we have to be very careful before we do something like this. If you go to Settings, and you go down to, I believe it's General, and we scroll all the way to the bottom, we see Reset. If we select that Reset, we have a lot of different things that we can do here. Now, what you don't want to do is choose to reset all contents and settings, because that would erase your phone and you'd have to put that back in again. But one thing that you could try to do would be to reset network settings. You could also, right there, you could reset location and privacy. That actually might help as well. If you try to reset those things, and then rejoin your Wi-Fi network, basically that takes the phone offline and puts the phone back on again, therefore reestablishing a new connection to, are you Sprint?
Yes.
Okay, it takes you off of Sprint's network and puts you back on again. The other thing here is that if your daughter is texting you, I assume that your daughter has an iPhone.
Yes.
All right, so that's not text messaging through Sprint. That's text messaging through iOS, right? Through iMessage. So here's another thing.
This does it with all people.
Okay, well then resetting those network settings might help us a little bit. Here's another thing that you could also try. In Settings, you go to Messages and sign out of iMessage and sign back into iMessage again. Now the way that you would do that is don't just turn off iMessage here and turn it back on again. That doesn't really do what I want you to do. You go down here to where it says send and receive. You see where mine is?
Mhm.
Select send and receive, and then you see your Apple ID at the top. Select that Apple ID and sign out, and then sign back in again. That could also fix it. So there's a couple of things to try there.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
That's sort of like restarting your phone in a way, but it's specifically restarting the Messages app.
Okay.
All right, I'm just about out of time here. I answered a good number of questions. If you guys noticed, I sent out a quick email reminder, and I'm going to start doing that on Mondays now. Although I sent out an email reminder with a broken link because I was rushing through it. So I'm going to try from now on to start sending out Monday reminders. So if I'm not online on a Monday, if you don't get an email from me, generally I always try to update my website if I'm not going to be online for that Monday night. But I do appreciate everybody being here this evening, and I guess I'll see you guys again next week.
Thanks, Scotty.
All right,
Thank you,
Thank
Scotty.
you.
I'll post this up on YouTube, and it should be up by tomorrow morning sometime. Bye.
Thank you.
The organizer has ended